Martha Creek and I are here this episode, and we're going to talk to you about unworthiness, which is one of my personal, my top two that I majored in earlier in my life were abandonment and unworthiness.
Yeah.
Because who am I to do this? You know, when myself and my two co-inspirators were starting the Village Gathering in Cocoa, Florida, we decided to sit down and talk about what we were each bringing to the table and what our core beliefs were. And it was hysterical because all three, these are three powerful women, established women in the world, every single one of us, I don't know what I have to offer this, who am I to do this? I'm not worthy. Where does that come from?
Yeah. Well, I don't know where it comes from, but
I'm getting my 12 gauge out.
Absolutely.
We're going hunting.
I have plenty of it as far as I can tell. I've had plenty of that. And I've never met somebody, though, men, women, children, everybody has some kind of sense of lacking value, of unworthiness. And the cousins of it are in undeservability. Like, I don't deserve. Yeah. And then that can get so painful, then it builds all kinds of resentments around people that do have it and whatever, instead of I've not exercised my emotion toward having it for myself. And I remember as a little kid being in the first grade, and the teacher would put seat work up on she called it seat work. And when she would put her last period on there, I was done. So then I would just sit there like, and she would be like, oh. Like, I don't know if she didn't know what to do with me.
Right,
because she was counting on that keeping us busy for a while.
For the rest of the hour.
So she sent me to the library every single day.
I knew you were kindred spirits.
Every single day. And it's, looking back on it, it's like, that's a little strange, because it wasn't like somebody walked me to the library or somebody was hanging out with me. I just went in there and helped myself and found books and read my head off, and then went back when it was time to go, to the next something. And when I got to looking at that, some part of me liked it, like I got to do something different.
Yeah.
I got to read, but there was also a part of me that was like, I don't deserve this. Like, this is punishing in some way. So the mind can frame it very treacherously either way. Like, this is either a bad thing or a good thing, or a right thing or a wrong thing. And even while my mind was able to see there's benefit in it, I actually like it to a degree that there was still this allure, some kind of allure, a temptation of mind to go use it as there's something about deservability in here.
Interesting.
Or value, if you had a greater value, that something else could happen. And I've never met a person that didn't believe this.
That's interesting, because I had the same thing. I'd get sent to the library, but I used it as an opportunity. I was like, ooh, gift. It was like bonus. I get a reward for having finished my homework. Except when I was reading in class later in high school, they would put me in detention for reading in class. I was like, what?
Yeah.
But for me to escape the boredom of the classroom was a gift.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I thought that was a positive thing when they would do that to me.
Yeah.
My unworthiness comes from when I'm guided to do the next big thing. And then it's always like, well, I don't deserve to move up to that level. Or who am I to think anybody, that I have anything of value to say or write, or, so it's that sense of, not knowing my own innate worth.
Yeah. And then where I want to go with it is, I don't want there to be any notion of any such thing.
Tell me.
Like, there's no such thing as worthiness or unworthiness. So
aren't we all just worthy in the eyes of the Lord?
Well, depends on who you ask.
I am the irreverent Rev. So.
Yeah, me too. And that's like a platitude of that. Like, to say we're whole and perfect and complete. It's like, why we're not believing that.
Yeah.
Or that we're worthy in the eyes of God. I know that I have worth because I exist.
Yeah.
Whatever created us, whether it's you use the word God or not, that
Jiminy
I've got
Cricket.
some kind of value here. And then it's like one thing to say that. It's another thing entirely to live that out. To live from an understanding. And I think sometimes we say it,
but we say it from that concept of, I am worthy, them not so much.
Yes.
As opposed to everyone's innate worth.
Absolutely. Yeah. Or that there's no such thing, which has been helpful to me. Like, I cannot come in here and say that's worthy and that's unworthy, which is, if you back it up, it's like that's good and that's bad. That's positive and that's negative. And that's that same old archaic paradigm that we've been looking at for 2,000 recorded years.
Well, it's even like discerning with our recordings. We're not looking at it to say, oh, that was a horrible, let's redo that one. It's, okay, well, what could we do different that would make it even better than it is?
Absolutely.
Enhance the experience.
Yes.
For everyone.
There's also an underpinning of it I just got in touch with of listening, thinking about that little first grade. And like I felt like I was missing something to not be in the room.
Yeah.
So then if there's deservability in here or value or worth, then it's like, wait a minute. I want what's going on in the room. And I remember years later that I was on staff for some pretty big emotional process work. And I'd be sent out of the room to go process with somebody, to go be their listener, to go be their coach or counselor. And I'd think, wait a minute, the teaching's in the room. I'm going to miss the teaching if I'm sent out of the room. So as much as I wanted to serve and much as I wanted to be a part of that, I still felt like, even then, decades later, like as much as I want to serve, and there's goodness in this, which I could absolutely see, that there's still something about I'm going to miss out. And that I deserve to be in here. I deserve it. I've put the time in. I've got skin in the game. I've paid the money, whatever it is, and I deserve to be in where the teaching is. And I remember that coming loose in me, just like yesterday.
Wow.
Like me questioning, like, the teaching's in that room. Is that true? And it's like, it's not true.
Yeah.
The teaching is in wherever I am is where the teaching is. And that, as far as I know, now time will tell, but as far as I know, that cleaned that up for me.
Cool.
I've not played around in that since that day, years ago now.
Yeah, just, is this true? Wow.
Is this true?
Is this true?
And who would I be if I didn't set it up as some kind of deserve?
Yeah.
And when I hear it, even when I hear the word,
and not being
like,
good
I didn't
enough.
deserve that.
Yeah.
I didn't deserve that, or
I do deserve
Yes.
to be in that.
Same hell.
You know, yeah.
Same hell, equal hell, depending on which side of the coin is up. So it's not going to serve me to keep some kind of concept of deserve running, versus it's going to go my way at times and it won't. And I'll get a praise and love and recognition at times, and I absolutely won't get it at times. And
but what about if I don't even bother going for the next level?
Well, that's what keeps me bound by some false concept. And if I don't ever look at it to see that it is a concept and that it's a false one, a false belief, then I may go to my grave saying, that's the reason I didn't do something,
that's right.
or that's the reason I didn't go for it, because I didn't feel like I deserved it.
Somebody
Versus
else's fault.
I'm going to test it out to see if I can. I'm going to go. I've got to test this to see, is this anything to do with deserving?
And I think just exploring those core beliefs for ourselves to get in that place where we're willing to examine them and say, is this that thing?
Yeah.
Because if I know it's all an illusion to begin with, and it's just stories I've made up, which story am I picking? It's like I've gone to the bookshelf, or the DVD, collection. What movie do I want to watch today? What story do I want to tell about myself?
Yeah. And it's helped for me just to step back and to see, in the course of life, the course of my life, the course of the human's life, like, it's going to be all of the above.
Yeah.
There's going to be times of you get it and times you don't. Times you have it, times you lose it. Times that you're popular, times that you are not. And there's no real problem there. There's no real stress in that until I start overlaying it with I don't deserve it, or I did deserve it, or I'm worthless, or whatever.
Or I'm more valuable than that person
Yes.
is, which is just another way of saying I don't really feel good enough, so I'm going to blame them, kind of thing. But I remember being in a relationship for a number of years. It was 3 or 4 years. And people kept saying to me, why do you keep going back and staying in this relationship? And I said, because I think it means something about me. And I think this is how I deserve to be treated. So what I'm working on is figuring out, why do I think I deserve to be treated this way? Because the minute I recognize that, this relationship will have no more interest to me. And that's exactly what happened. It was like this switch went off one day and I was like, that's the last piece. Yeah. I've got it. And I wasn't angry about it. It was literally like a classroom. Like, I want to explore this until I understand what the driving piece is, and then I take it out.
Yeah.
And I set it down and go, oh, I don't need to drive that car anymore.
I love that worked for you, honey, and I'm a little cautious about that. So I want that to be on this recording, that people hear this and think they've got to stay in abusive relationships.
Oh, no, it wasn't abusive.
Or whatever else, because I've got to get my lesson out of this.
Yeah.
I've got to get to the root of this. It's like, well, you move on down the street and get to the root of it.
Down there.
Yeah.
There was not a safety issue involved.
Exactly.
Unless it was the safety of
which
my
I
own.
believed about you.
I'm disrespected. You know. Okay. Why do I keep disrespecting
Yeah.
myself? What's this about?
So get to the root of it and do it in a
safe way.
Safe and sane place for sure. Not to
do not stand there like the little pop-up clown getting punched and punched and punched.
Yeah, like a doormat.
Good. Yeah.
A doormat.
Turn the other
something.
cheek. Turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
No, that's not what I'm recommending. Most definitely. Thank you for pointing that out.
Well, I've heard it, and I've been challenged over the time that it's like if we fall under these beliefs that they're my teacher. They're my teacher.
And not if it's harmful,
Well, they're your teacher, and you don't have to stay in the environment or in the house or the relationship or whatever it is, unless you do.
Yeah. Because a lot of times, we'll make it the fight or flight. We'll make it, this is unsafe. I feel unsafe with these people. No, you just don't want to deal with the issue that's coming up. Mm-hmm. Now, you can either deal with it here, you can deal with it with a proxy. Like there's different organizations, like The Way Through does great workshops where they deal with a proxy of those issues. You don't have to put yourself. Yeah. But a lot of times our go-to is, I don't feel safe. Because I didn't give you what you wanted.
Absolutely.
Because I said a word, because I raised my voice.
Exactly. Yeah. Somebody said this week that somebody told them, don't ever speak the word simply in my presence again. Like, I don't feel safe when you say the word. And I'm like, I don't know what to tell you other than don't count on me not to say it. Yeah. Because even if I'm mindful, I hear that it's upsetting to you, and I cannot say that it won't come out again. That's
like when I wrote Giving Thanks, the Art of Tithing. Someone said to me, could you change the title so you don't have the word tithing in it? I said, I'll change the title as soon as the word tithing stops bothering you. And they're like, oh. It's a word.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then that's what all of these are if we boil it down really, Paula. And that could be so liberating for people to know that what we're dealing here is actually 5 or 6 letters strung together and a word that took on this mysterious depth of meaning that is not true, that is false.
That we're letting guide our lives.
We're still living under the spells of it somehow, that we're not under the influence of these words without realizing another option for ourselves.
Yeah. Well, if you'd like to be mystically, magically released from the spell, like, who was it, Snow White, or, I don't know, I Dream of Jeannie, I don't know, I'm making up stories now. Visit marthacreek.com or paulalanguthryan.com and see if our coaching works for you.
See what's possible.
Yeah.